isn't garble, isn't the trick, but the sweet trick could make me believe it's a beautiful world. Special kind of wit, special kind of wit. Oh, she'd shine anywhere, and she hasn't got platinum hair. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Abbott's leading lady.
Lillian Gish. Ellen Hayes. Edie Evans. Elizabeth Ashley. Manick Cabret.
Hi there, I'm Joan Caulfield. I just thought I'd tell you a couple of things about Mr. Abbott you might not know. Number one, he's famous for his clarity, his honesty, and his pacing. Clarity means, I can't hear you, Joan. Honesty means, when they washed your hair, did they wash out your brains? The way you do the scene? Well, I shaped up. Now, pacing. Now, that is something that we are going to maintain tonight. Not going to deviate a bit. But I would like to tell you a little story. When all the cast was invited out to Sandpoint, Long Island, to a very swanky place, the Baroness of the Rothschild, well, it turns out that she hates actors. Can you believe that? Big stars. I mean, she treated us like, well, like, excuse me, just
when the boys first been kissing, then we were racing with the car.
Anyway, the best part was all the actors got together and we, I'll be back.
As traditions.
Who cares?
I do. My ballets have been done for our Tsar, and the Tsar's father.
To the same truth?
I am loyal to my Tsar.
Haven't you heard about the revolution?
Yes, but I do not recognize him. Then Russia was white. It was white for the classes and black for the masses. Unfortunate asses, all wealth belonged to few.
When
England was Judah, the king and his cronies had cocktails, had Tonys, the poor had balonies, and that's how England grew. Sing la and hoo-ha for the poor folks, as long as the poor folks are your folks.
Finer pizza for the minor folk, the class society began. Caviar for the peasants is a joke, it's no good for the average man.
Supper clubs are for the upper folk, packed like sardines in a can. Through the smoke you get your check and joke, it's too good for the average man.
Each poor man has a mind, he must reach
You ragged urchins. He turned us into these incredibly...
We owe it all to him. Yes, we skipped 40 years, and later on, Mr. Abbott called us some years
Indeed,
after.
we do owe it all to him. It's the simple truth.
We are eternally grateful that he came into our lives, and that he even called us after the first show we did and wanted to do another show with us. And this was Wonderful Town, which was based on my sister Eileen. And, so this show had some peculiar problems. We were given exactly 5 weeks to write an entire score.
As Mr. Abbott called us up one day and said, look, now we've got a terrific idea here for a musical comedy. It's a terrific book based on my sister Eileen by Charter Up Fields. We've got a great star, Rosalind Russell. There's just 2 little items we're still lacking. We don't have the lyrics, we don't have the music. And he said, well, unless we can come up with these 2 items in the next 4 weeks, we will lose Miss Russell to other commitments. Can you do it?
We tried to think suddenly what composer we could call, and we remembered that Leonard Bernstein had just come back to town from a tour. We mentioned it to Mr. Abbott, and he said, well, go over and ask him. So we went over to Leonard's apartment, and we had no sooner opened the door to let ourselves in when the phone rang.
It was Mr. Abbott, a man who never likes to beat about the bushes. Well, what's the answer? Is it yes or no?
So we said yes, all of us. And we started work that very afternoon on the score. We did have it finished in time to hold on to Rosalind Russell, which was a good thing. And we also had one other marvelous woman in the cast to play the beautiful Eileen, and here she is.
Her name was, and still is, Edie Adams. Triumphant.
In Wonderful Town, my first Broadway show, straight from the local TV shows, Mr. Abbott told me a curious thing. He said, in the theater, the audience makes up its mind whether they like you or not the instant you step on the stage, before you even utter a word or a sound. Well, Mr. Abbott, I have thought about that for 35 years, and I must tell you, since I first set eyes on you back then, here's how I will always feel about you. It's love, well, who would have thought it? If this is love, then why have I thought it? What a way to feel I could touch the sky. What a way to feel I have found my eye. It's love at last, I've someone to cheer for. It's
doing Damn Yankees, you asked for a pep talk song for the locker room, for the ball players, and out came You Gotta Have Heart, that would make me think of Donna Rice. Sorry, George. I'd like to talk very briefly, because I've been told to be on here only 3 minutes. I could go on for quite a lot longer, about a working experience with George Abbott. All of them were great.
But me, I love you more.
Tell me.
And there was a man who loved a woman. She was the one he gave his kingdom for. They say that nobody ever loved as much as he. But me, I love you more. My love is a giant, this fierce and defiant, but how can I prove it to you? Ain't got no kingdom, no dragon to back up my bragging. I'm trying to show you what I do. I only know there was a man who loved a woman. She was the one he ate the apple for. They say that nobody ever loved as much as he. But me, I love you more.
The man who loved a man, he was the one she ate the apple for. They say that nobody ever loved as much as she. But me, I love you more.
Tell me.
And there was the woman who loved a man. He was the one she swam the channel for. They say that nobody ever loved as much as she. But me, I love you more. My love's meteoric, it's barely historic, a whirlwind.
The most important part was meeting George Abbott, who was the director, and Jerome Robbins. It's 40 years since, and here we are, George. I wish you a happy birthday. And now I want to tell you one little short tale about George. I double dated with him many years ago. We used to go after our high button shoes in Boston. He wanted to dance every night. There were no late meetings with George. Notes were the next day, because dance always took place in the evening. We wanted to dance, and George taught me a lesson. He told me that when you take a girl out, and she enjoys the evening, and you dance with her all evening, it's not wrong for her to pay her end of the bill. George, thank you for that. One other short thing was I'm a lot of, you see, I'm very good. Producers told me to do 2 minutes, I've only done 1:30. I've timed this out. The other story is, you've heard about George, but it's no romance. It's either yes or no, he likes it or he doesn't, comes right out with it, and so there's, it's a short life with George if he doesn't like anything. And this was a story containing one of the composers on the road with him in a show, who was told after the first performance in New Haven that this song is out, and this song is out, and that song is out. The composer rebelled. He said, I'm sending for my lawyer, and George says, don't send for your lawyer unless he can write songs. Happy birthday, George.
See if maybe you're going to get a show. When you get in that theater, if you're very lucky, there you meet Julie Stein, Sammy Kahn, Jerome Robbins, George Abbott. And Mr. Abbott said to me, he said, Nan, we would love to have you do this show. And he said, now there's 2 parts for 2 ladies in this. There's the mother and the daughter. Well, the boy who was playing my, I eventually took the mother. The boy who was playing my son was 9 years younger than I was. But Mr. Abbott said to me, he said, Nan, if you're very smart, you'll take the mother. because she has all the songs and all the dances. And besides, Nan, he said, you are funny. And that turned my whole life around. I felt funny. If he says it, there you are. Now, also, if you are very, very lucky, that show turns out to be High Button Shoes. In that show, Donald Sadler played my younger brother. Well, that was 40 years ago. Now Donald is old enough to play my husband. Hey, Papa, listen. Listen, they're starting a polka. Oh, come on and dance with me. Oh, come on and dance. Oh, Papa, come on. It's not too hot. Papa, you love the polka. Please, please. Papa, wants to dance. Please dance with me. Papa, take a chance with me and dance with me tonight. And when you whirly, round and round you go, right off the ground you'll go, around and round you'll go. And when we hear those trombones, slide high, we'll go high up to the sky. I love the polka pop. So won't you dance with me? Oh, dance with me. Please dance with me. When you hold me tight, oh, Papa, won't you dance with me tonight?
And of course, George Abbott directed it. We were rehearsing on 46th Street, and one day Mr. Abbott and I went to lunch at Howard Johnson's, which was then on 46th Street on the northwest corner. And Mr. Abbott ordered a bowl of soup. I ordered a bowl of soup and a hot dog. When the waiter brought my hot dog, Mr. Abbott turned to me and said, "You live well." Happy birthday, Mr. Abbott. And now, Dorothy Lowen with All of My Laughter from The Fig Leaves Are Falling.
I'm thrilled to be here tonight. Back in 1969, I was a brunette. But when Mr. Abbott says, dye your hair, when we were in rehearsals for Fig Leaves Are Falling, Mr. Abbott used to take notes on yellow line legal paper, and then he would, crumple them up and throw them in the corner. And after the rehearsals were over, I used to go and pick them all up and take them home and iron them on the iron board. I still have those notes. A lot of people think, if they think about it at all, that the turning point of my career was Annie. And possibly commercially, that's true. I think everybody was so happy to see me in a show that ran. But to me, in my heart, my career began with Mr. George Abbott, who was the first director who had the courage to send me out on the stage all by myself with an original song that he gave to me 2 nights before we opened in New York in Flat. Thank you, Mr. Abbott. Do you remember? I want to laugh all my laughter. I want to cry all my tears. I want to turn on my lights and see all of the sights and hear all of the music before it disappears. I want to sing all my love songs. I want to drink all my wine. I want to ride on the skylark and fly a giraffe. This life is my life and I won't take half. I want to laugh all of my laughter before I go. I want to taste all of my flavors. I want to dance to all of my love. I want to live life today. Yesterday is passé and tomorrow is a pagan hope that never comes. I want to ride my roller coaster and love the trip both high and low. They only gave me one ticket to my magic show. I want to sit in that very first row. I want to laugh all of my laughter before I go. I want to chase all the rainbow. I want to spread my wings and take to the sky. I want to burst my cocoon 'cause that time's coming soon when this old caterpillar becomes a butterfly. I want to light all my flowers. I want to take the heat and see it all. They only gave me just one life. What's next? I don't know. I'm holding steady. I'm ready to go. Just watch me. I want to laugh all of my laughter before I go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Garson Kanan.
For the longest running, but pretty long at that. 48 years. 48 years ago, I insinuated myself on Mr. Abbott, and without his knowing it, I became his assistant. And that was a position which I occupied for some 4 years. Some guys go to college, I never did, but I had 4 years of George Abbott. And that has carried me through everything I've done, everything I'm doing, everything I hope to do. I owe to Mr. Abbott. Some years ago, at his request, I stopped calling him Mr. Abbott and began calling him George. But I have to tell you something, George. Beginning tonight, you're Mr. Abbott again. It has been said that there is usually one little
trying to get me. Do you know anything about it? Oh, did you remember to draft the cable? What's happened to you? Kenneth!
I hear singing and there's no one there. I smell blossoms and the trees are there. All day long I seem to walk on air. I wonder why. I wonder why. I keep tossing in my sleep at night. And what's more, I've lost my appetite. Stars that used to twinkle in the skies are twinkling in my eyes. I wonder why.
You don't need analyzing. It is not so surprising that you feel very strange tonight. Your heart goes pitter-patter. I know just what's the matter, 'cause I've been there once or twice. Put your head on my shoulder, you need someone older, or rub down with a velvet glove. There's nothing you can take to relieve that pleasant ache. You're not sick, you're just in love. Not surprising, you feel that strange desire. I don't matter, I know just what's the matter, 'cause I've been there once or twice. Put your head on my shoulder, someone's older, or rub down with a velvet glove. There's nothing you can take to relieve that pleasant ache. You're not sick, you're just in love.
One of George Abbott's many successful musicals was called Call Me Madam. In it, he gave a big break to a young dancer. And that young dancer is with us tonight, Miss Chita Rivera.
Mr. Abbott, you would never remember me, I don't think. I was your youngest pipsqueak in the road company of Call Me Madam. And I went in to Call Me Madam Dolores Conchita Figueroa de Rivera Montestuco Florentina Corimeco de Fluente. And I came out Chita Rivera. I had something to dance about then. And thanks to you, I still have something to dance about. An old hand at giving parties, but I've learned an awful lot. The best reason for a party and what keeps it boiling hot. An occasion when you've got something to dance about, someone to dance it for, something to dance it to a foxtrot or a waltz. Put on your dancing shoes, here comes the happy news. Right up those razors to a foxtrot or a waltz. All those years of enjoyment, who could ever repay? All those years of employment, what else is there to say?
to a play called Brother Rat. And in December of 1936, we opened at the Biltmore Theater. The show was a hit, and I was fortunate enough to get some good notices. Being an ambitious young actor, I built on the performance that Mr. Abbott had carefully crafted for me and put in a lot of improvements, and strangely enough, some of the laughs began to disappear one by one as my performance improved. 6 weeks into the run, Mr. Abbott came to see us at a rehearsal and said, "Joe, take it all out." Of course, I was furious, and I said to myself, "I'll take it all out, and I'll teach him a lesson, and he'll see who's right and who's wrong." I took it all out, the laughs all came back. So then I began to improve on that performance. 6 weeks later, he came back and said, "Take it all out." I took it all out, I improved it again. He said the third time, "Take it all out." The third time, I got the message, and the thing I'm saying is that all of us who work for Mr. Abbott remember in our hearts one thing above all others he gave us that nobody else did. And what he gave me was a very precious gift to an actor of how to hold a performance. And after that third time when he said, "Joe, take it all out," I never again, any director I ever worked for, never did another director have to say to me, "Take it all out," because he had taught me the invaluable thing of holding a performance the way the director said it. And thank you, Mr. Abbott. I will tell you one more story about Mr. Abbott, and that is we all have the story of when did we first call him George, those of us who ever got that far. Well, there was a time in the 50s when I was living in Beverly Hills, and the palace in which I lived had a palatial tennis court in the backyard. And Mr. Abbott used to come and play tennis there, and I couldn't figure out how on earth I could say, "Good serve, Mr. Abbott," or "Let's go to the net, Mr. Abbott." And so one day, in the heat of battle, as we took on two peerless opponents, I said, "Good serve, George." Oops, but he didn't seem to think it was too far out of line, and so on the tennis court it was always George. So anyway, I'm here to thank him for all the wonderful things he's done for all of us, and happy birthday, George. George, Mr. Abbott. Thank you.
Because I feel so well, no sorrow, no sorrow, no sorrow. This packing up, I get no dizzy spell. My head is up in the sky. My heart does not stand still as spirit beats. This is too sweet to be loved. This can't be love because I feel so bad. But still I love, but still I love, but still I love to love me count your fingers. What can you do? Old girl, you're through. Old girl, you're through. All you can count on is the raindrops. Is the raindrops. Little girl.
appeared with a microphone, put it in front of my face and said, quick, give me your quick description in a few words of Mr. George Abbott. And I went to the Statue of Liberty. And I don't think I was far off. He stands there, light in his hand, book in the other, and leads us the way and shows us what to do and what to expect. We are all so fortunate to have been living at a time where we all came in contact with him, because he did teach us. He set an example for us, and he sets an example for us in every way. As a man of the theater, as a gentleman, as a patriot, as a generous person, a stalwart person, kind person, strong person. And it's been a pleasure for all of us who've been a part of it. We thank you, George, and we thank you for really being Broadway's longest running hit.
And there is no one waiting there. There is a lonely town. You wander up and down. The crowds rush by. A million faces pass before your eyes. Still it's a lonely town. Unless there's love, a love that's shining like a harbor light, you'll lose tonight. Unless there's love, the world's an empty place, and every town a lonely town. Gaby's coming, Gaby's coming to town.
An embarrassed silence. I was very anxious. Then Mr. Abbott said precisely the right words to enable me to write a good lyric for that song. He got up, he walked over to me, put his arm around my shoulder, he smiled down at me, and he said, "Sheldon, would Larry Hart have been satisfied with that lyric?" Now that's tact.
And just a few rows, Fiorello H. LaGuardia, back on the campaign trail once again to perform the name's LaGuardia, Mr. Tom Bosley.
want each and every one of you to take a long, deep breath like this. You know what that smell is? Tammany! They've been stinking up this district long enough. It's time to get the garbage off the doorstep, and I've got the shovel to do it with. Your vote! Come election day, put that pencil cross next to the name of Fiorello H. LaGuardia. Laguardia. Now here's another name. Tammany. What's that? Tammany. Wrong, the answer's tyranny. Tammany spells tyranny like R-A-T spells rat. Now there's a double M in Tammany and a double L in gold. Just like the double dealing, double talking, double crossing, double duplicity of Tammany Hall. But you can change it all. Go use the ballot box and cast your spell come next election day. The name's LaGuardia. L-A-G-U-A-R-D-I-A. You know, George Abbott is responsible for launching more careers into stardom in our business than anybody else. So many stars couldn't be here tonight because they're dead. Shirley MacLaine couldn't be here tonight, Mr. Abbott, because she's already celebrating her 200th birthday. I guess I am considered one of the products of that launching pad, and it shows you what 28 years can do in the span of one's life. Mr. Abbott made me the mayor of New York, and now today I sell garbage bags. It's a story that his lovely wife Joy told me, and she gave me permission to tell it, and I'm going to tell it to you. It seems that about a year or so ago, Mr. Abbott and his wife were playing golf. And Mr. Abbott hit a ball off the 10th tee and immediately fell to the ground. And Joy, being the loving wife and attentive wife that she is, knelt down beside him, cradled him in her arms, and said, "George, do you want to get up or do you want to lay here for a while?" And he looked up at her and he said, "Lie. Lie." Mr. Abbott, it would be difficult in a short period of time to tell you what knowing you and working with you has meant to me, as well as everyone else here tonight. All I can say is that I'd give anything to be here 25 years from now when you're celebrating your 125th birthday. But unfortunately, I'm busy that night.
Stop me if you heard this. Interrupted me. This is about a tennis game.
use up my 3 minutes. I'm here tonight because I'm one of the live ones. My doctor told me. Happy birthday, George Abbott. Congratulations, Mrs. Abbott. Good evening, friends. An awful lot has been written about the romance, the glamour, the excitement, the inspiration of the theater. Nobody has yet written about the paralyzing fear in the young actor's heart when he had to audition for the great George Abbott. Years old. He's been involved in show business 75 years. Over 100 shows, movies, musicals, plays. Many of them hits. Recently directed one of his earlier plays, Broadway. Never become when thunder is rumbling and others are crumbling. I hum, 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 hum. I was thinking, calm, comforting things, butterfly wings, emerald rings, or a murmuring brook, murmuring. I'm calm, I haven't a qualm, I'm utterly under control. Let nothing confuse me or faze me. Excuse me. Oh, so calm. Oh, so calm.
Jack, come on, get up. Jack, go.
Broadway show. And Mr. Abbott's, between 50 and 75 shows. So, needless to say, for a young man from Hollywood, Mr. Lesser was pretty nervous and enthralled to be around Mr. Abbott. The plan was that Harold Arlen would write the music and Frank Lesser the lyrics. Well, the plan changed. Mr. Arlen couldn't do it. So Frank Lesser somehow or other convinced him that he could do the whole job. Well, things went swimmingly until the morning after the opening. Not too good. The critics wasn't too hot. But Mr. Abbott said to a rather glum Mr. Lesser, "Don't worry, kid. They're going to come back and they're going to love it." And you know what? He was right as usual. Well, Colin Roma, shall we sing a little Where's Charlie? Till a moment ago, we were Mr. and Miss, discussing the weather, avoiding each other's eyes.
I'm sorry, George.
Directed a musical that had the most famous sing-along in all history of American musical theater. I'm to sing it tonight. And eventually you can too. Hit it, Maestro, please. I caught you, sir, having a look at her as she went strolling by. Now didn't your heart beat? Boom, 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 and didn't you hear a sigh? I warn you, sir, don't start to dream of her, just bid such thoughts be gone. Or it'll be boom, 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 boom. From then on, for once in love with Amy, always in love with Amy, ever and ever, straight to you, no matter how is the answer to me. Amy's gonna stay in love with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president of the Society of Stage Directors and Choreographers, Mr. Gene Sachs.
The Society of Stage Directors and Choreographers was formed in 1962, and Mr. George Abbott was one of our original...
Not bad for 71. Stop smoking, I can't stop eating. The past few weeks, I've been very lucky to have been a part of celebrating 2 happy birthday anniversaries of 2 great legends. Happy birthday, Hollywood, and the greatest legend of all, Mr. Abbott. I was fortunate enough to do 2 shows for Mr. Abbott. Too Many Girls, Rodgers and Hart, and Pal Joey, Rodgers and Hart. And that was a springboard to Hollywood for Gene Kelly, June Havoc, Stanley Donen, and myself. I learned an awful lot from the master. Timing, pace, tempo, exits, entrances. He said, step on those cues, man. Don't let any air in between your cue and your next line. Get on, get off, speak up, and don't bump into anything. So when I was lucky enough again to join this fabulous company of La Cage aux Folles, I used to get thanked every once in a while by the musicians and the stagehands. And I finally said, why are you thanking me? They said, well, Mr. Johnson, when you join the show, we get home 20 minutes earlier every night. One of my dearest friends...
Open windows in those days. And rather quickly, he moved me up in the world into assistant stage managing jobs. And then finally, the best of them by 1949 was casting Call Me Madam. Sent me over to Leland Hayward's office. And actually, I got that job because both his casting director and Hayward's were working elsewhere. So I arrived there and I started to cast the show. And one day, I got my draft notice. We were going to war in Korea. I was, in fact, the last person not drafted in World War II. So clearly I was the first person drafted in the Korean War. In fact, the Daily News ran a picture of me, and underneath it said, Korean threat. I went to see Abbott, and I told him the terrible news, because I was just desperate. Here I was, really on a roll, and it was, all over. He said, how long will you be gone? I said, a year and a half. He said, well, that's nothing. And I said, well, that's something to me. He said, well, there'll be a job waiting for you when you come back. I then went away. I never heard from him in the time I was gone. I did hear from his secretary, Celia Linder, regularly, bringing me up to date on things, but never from George. After 6 months of my 18 months, they decided to extend the draft 6 months. So I was back to 18 months again. I began to think paranoidally I was going to spend the rest of my life on an extended draft. Anyway, after 2 years, I actually got out. I landed in Hoboken, and I called my parents and told them I was back, and I bought a New York Times, and I opened it up and looked at the theater section, and it said, opening tonight at the Court Theater, in any language, starring Uta Hagen and Walter Matthau, directed by George Abbott. So I called my parents and said, I'll be home much later. And I went down to the Court Theater in uniform, and I talked my way into backstage about half an hour before the show started. And sitting on this sumptuous set was George Abbott and Bobby Griffith, his stage manager. I walked in uniform, and he looked up, and he said, are you back already? And then he said, Joy Abbott.
Last year in Florida, someone asked George why he never cast me in any of his shows. And George replied, I don't have too many roles for Oriental leading ladies. So tonight, an Oriental version of a song from Pal Joey, Maestro Don Pippin. He's a fool and don't I know it, but a fool can have his charms. I'm in love and don't I show it, like a babe in arms. Men are not a new sensation, I've done pretty well, I think. But this half-pint imitation has put me on the blink. I'm wild again, beguiled again, a simpering, whimpering child again, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I. Couldn't sleep and wouldn't sleep until I could sleep where I shouldn't sleep. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I. Lost my heart, but what of it? He is cold, I agree. He's a laugh, but I love it because the laugh's on me. I'll sing to him each spring to him and worship the trousers that cling to him. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I. Lost my heart, but what of it? He is cold, I agree. He's a laugh, but I love it because the laugh's on me. I'll sing to him the rose from the poison, now they're back in the bunch. I came up with a hunch, this is an up and under. It's one of those spells when you hear the right bells and your horoscope tells you to say, will everyone here kindly step to the rear and let a winner lead the way?
A very nice number is 101. I suppose you think I should pick a young number like 22, 34, 47, 88. But I'll tell you this much about getting 100 years old, in case you're planning that. There are many difficulties and hardships connected with it, but there are also many great good things. And one of the best things is that everybody loves you. That's the way it seems. Now, by the time I have become 101, each of you will be 1 year older. So we better just get together on this and hope that there'll be a bull market and we'll be happy and healthy.
The president of the Actors Fund, Mrs. Netta Harrigan-Logan.
From the Actors Fund, which is your host, to dear George Abbott, this is our toast. Here's to nigh 100 years of belly laughs, pratfalls, plus coquette's tears. From George Pierce Baker to On Your Toes, you've had Broadway, as the saying goes. You've made so many hits, you've gotten to be a habit. So the Actors Fund thanks you, dear George Abbott.